Cursed by the old gods in Bethany, we are four immortals taking on the impossible task of reviewing all the 1001 pieces of pop culture so we can one day die. This is episode 124.
Yay!
Nice.
Woo! 1 times 2 is 2.
Is 2.
Times 2 is 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
1 to 4.
I was very worried you were going to stop at 1 times 2 and just be worried.
No.
So the first 3 powers of 2.
Yeah.
2 to the 0,
Isn't that
2 to the 1, and 2 to
what,
the 2.
Fibonacci sequence?
No, that's...
Fibonacci sequence is 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13,
Mhm.
21, where you add to
Well,
the
it's
number
actually,
before.
just starts with 2 1s.
Yeah, it does. 0, 1, 1.
0, 1, then...
And 2, 3, 5,
2,
8,
5, yeah.
13.
And that jump from 0 to 1 is
30.
just the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Alright, great episode again. Discussing math stuff.
We know a lot of math and a lot of
There's
science.
not a single segment here that's even about math, so it's not even like the 1001 best math equations you really have to like appreciate. I mean, if there was, we wouldn't let Pedro do it because, Christ, no. But whatever. We do pop culture things. We review the 1001 movies, albums, food, songs, and TV shows you must consume before you die. My name is Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
And every week we get a random number and we review the corresponding things in each of those categories. But before we jump into today's set of topics, I just want to do a little bit of a TV talk because, as you all know, every time we do a TV show, I still try to finish the TV show, even though that is impossible to do. But I did watch season 6 of The Real World recently. This is when they were in Boston, and this feels like a very pivotal season of The Real World because they really have mostly just garbage people, but they're still trying to be socially aware. Like the first time they had a lesbian on the show, which has resulted in most of the guys trying to have her prove she's a lesbian and doubt she's a lesbian, which was gross. And then they discussed rape culture, and that went horribly. And pretty much the worst stuff about rape culture and especially just straight up racism was done by a guy who's now currently a U.S. state representative.
Wonderful.
So that was fun. There's one party now that had 2 reality stars in office. Democrats had a comedy star, but he's gone now. So, yeah. Real World Season 6.
Garbage men are garbage.
Pretty much.
Yep.
The season was also noteworthy because it's the first time they had a crossover between The Real World and Road Rules. And I've never seen a full season of Road Rules. And if this is the comparison, they are more garbage people than The Real World. You guys really watch those?
What the hell's Road Rules?
Road Rules.
I watched Road Rules. Road Rules is actually kind of great.
What?
I mean, it's hot garbage, but it's fun.
It's like what Real World kind of people on a traveling game show.
Yeah, it was like crappy MTV Amazing Race.
But really crappy.
But really crappy.
Because their big crossover thing was here we are, we're in Puerto Rico, look how beautiful it is. Today's big challenge is, how long can you guys stand on this box? Or tug of war. Again, they spent the entire budget on the alcohol for them.
I remember on our 6th grade trip when I was in middle school, there was something we were going to do that was a science project that basically involved wandering around a very smelly swamp, and the science teachers tried to theme it as a Road Rules game, and that was I just remember even though I didn't totally understand what Road Rules was in 6th grade, I didn't figure it out till later, I just remember being this is a lame and stupid idea for how you think you're going to motivate us to walk around in this dirty, disgusting swamp. You monster people.
We keep seeing the trailer for the Bo Burnham film 8th Grade, and there's a part in it where it's one of those recorded videos to teach you about puberty and such, and the person in the video says, it's going to be lit.
It's awful.
And I just wince every single time.
Yeah, it's really awful.
So anyway, Real World. I just saw that they're trying to have it be revamped on a different streaming site, which, because one of the reasons I enjoy watching the show is that it has gone through so many different cycles of reality TV. It is kind of the litmus test of it all. But it's I think it deserves to be rebooted and not as garbage. Anything else I've been watching? Pedro and I've been watching the new season of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's interesting.
It's Yeah.
I like Clarkson.
He's good. I mean, he got an international flub that I kept seeing even play on like ESPN.
That was pretty wonderful.
What did he do?
He said, "I don't have to look at the computer. You got this right." And then the computer said, "No, that is not correct." So
That's amazing.
So the guy celebrated. And it was like, "Oh no!"
And then he looked at it and he was like
That's
really
very
confused.
sad.
And he's like, and then
That's really.
I feel like we may have talked about this, but they've added like 2 new lifelines which I don't really like. Ask the host doesn't work well for Clarkson because he's dumb and still wasn't confident how many sides a stop sign had.
That was the craziest one.
He's the host of Top Gear.
The
host of Top Gear.
Yeah.
Oh, LeBlanc's out. Top Gear we also covered. So this up.
Wait, what?
Matt LeBlanc's leaving Top
Why?
Gear. Probably because he doesn't want to live in the UK anymore.
Oh, I mean, that's fair.
He was like the lead
I
of
could see
a
that.
UK sitcom. And
It just made sense. He was already there.
yeah. But yeah, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Rather fun. Still silly. Enjoyable show. I bet they'll make more. Because
Oh, what was the other lifeline you said?
other lifeline is, it's not a new lifeline, but it is a new strategy thing, which I actually rather enjoy. Typically, in the first 30 seasons of the show, the markers, of which, like, even if you lose, you'll still get those markers, were 1,000 and 32,000. Now, after you get past the 1,000 marker, you can choose your next marker. So before you get the $4,000 question, you can say, if I get this right, this will be my marker. As you kind of go forward.
Yeah.
Or
So then you've frozen. You'll at least get this much.
Exactly.
You have the option of setting it before moving on to the next
And
one.
then I feel like it's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, that's nice. It means there's fewer people who win like $5,
Yeah.
Correct.
which is civilized.
But yeah, those are things that we have reviewed in the past that I'm going to keep on watching. Oh, the 100 Season 2 is way better. That's it. Okay, that's enough of this stuff. Let's get into some actual art. Like the film this week, which is The Godfather. And the album is...
Oh, I didn't... Sorry. You said it like we were getting ready to start the segment. I was very confused.
That's true. That's just the power of saying The Godfather.
Anyway, the album is Double Nickels on the Dime by the Minutemen.
The food is escargot, which I will have for everybody next week.
The song is Ace of Spades by Motorhead.
And the TV show is the film Little Dieter Needs to Fly. But first, The Godfather.
What do you want of me? Do what I beg you to do.
Now you come to me and you say, Don Corleone, give me justice. You come into my house and you ask me for murder.
I ask you for justice.
That is not justice.
For those of you who are joining on episode 124 of a film podcast and need to know what The Godfather is about, let me tell you. It is a film that came out in 1972, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who we've last seen on this podcast, the director of Apocalypse Now. He adapted this from the novel of the same name by Mario Puzo. Huge best-selling novel. This was a movie that the studio really wanted to get right. It was in that nice era of studio filmmaking where people actually wanted to make like the greatest of all time, and thought box office would reflect that. And boy, did they. It is the story of the Corleone family. You have Vito Corleone.
The what?
Corleone.
Yeah, you just said it very fast. I was like, do you know how to pronounce the Corleones?
Nah. Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, who we've seen before in On the Waterfront and A Streetcar Named Desire. He is the elder patriarch of the family. He is growing old and was shot several times in the chest. So they're kind of looking for the next wave. It was the back, yeah.
Wait, he's already been shot at the beginning of the film? I
No,
just missed that.
no.
No, okay.
No, I mean like the first
Overall.
third.
Yeah, okay.
The-
Yeah, because that's a pretty big surprise
The
when it
first
happens,
hour.
so...
The plot is how this family is evolving, not only with the times, but within leadership within their own family. Specifically, Michael Corleone, played by Al Pacino.
Turning into a sociopath.
Who I don't think we've had on this podcast before, Al Pacino.
I don't think we have.
so.
He was in
It's kind of crazy.
Heat for Let's Take 5, but not this. Good actor, Al Pacino.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, sometimes. In this era, yes. And, yeah, this is an epic 3-hour film. Beloved had 2 sequels. One of those is Beloved. And let's see how it starts off.
The Godfather Part 2 is the only sequel. Like, it's the only pair of sequels to win an Oscar.
Pair, yes. The other sequel to win is
Lord of the Rings 3 is... Although that's basically just them being like, we're giving it to the whole Lord of the Rings franchise, but whatever.
Let's start off with Pedro this time.
Ooh.
Pedro.
Okay.
Been friends for a long time, but I don't think we ever sat down and discussed The Godfather.
Yeah, one of the main reasons was I don't remember ever actually watching it all the way through before. I've seen like bits and pieces here and there. I don't think I've ever actually I tried once and I fell asleep. Yeah, so
It's a long movie.
This is, I'll go ahead and say, the first time that I know for a fact that I've sat down and watched the whole thing. It is a long movie. It's a lot of movie.
Mm-hmm.
For the amount of plot. And it kind of drags on for, the first half. It's a little, just, much. It's a good movie. I like it. I recognize why it's good. I don't think it's, earth-shattering or, just any, sort of ridiculousness around it. I don't know. I think it might be, oversold or overrated. Maybe,
So I thought that. This is my 3rd time watching The Godfather.
Mhm.
I did not watch it when I was young, but I've watched it as an adult 3 times of the sort of I should watch this.
Yeah.
And it is only on this time that I feel like I am listening carefully enough and know how to track the names and everything that's going on in the plot of who Salazzo is and who all these different people are. And then tracking that, where it isn't just the first half of the movie is just stuff happening to people, but where you can actually see the pieces move. But this time I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, see, because that's something that was more lost on me.
Right. No, the first 2 times I watched it, the first half of the movie, you're just and there's a bunch of people shooting each other.
A lot.
There's a war. Some of the shooting scenes are good. Yeah.
It picked up really well. The way the violence ramped up. I mean, I kind of like gratuitous violence, but it was done really well.
This is The Godfather. We're going to spoil the whole movie.
Oh,
if you haven't seen The Godfather, skip
stop,
the next
but
section.
Seriously, do stop, because I was not spoiled on The Godfather,
yeah,
and a lot of
true,
crazy shit happens, and better to not be spoiled on it.
So, yes, the film begins with a very large sequence, which is the daughter's wedding. And this is often kind of where people do, struggle, I think, because it is very, very deliberately paced. But it's one that I actually always appreciate more and more on rewatch.
Deliberatively paced.
Yes.
Well,
that is a bullshit
itself,
way to say slow.
Well, it's a half-hour-long scene or something like that. So it's a good chunk of the movie.
I always call films slow when they didn't think it was being slow. Yeah, like the comedy I saw on Netflix last week, Ibiza. That was very slow, and they would not have guessed that was a slow movie, but Jesus Christ, nothing happened for an hour and 45 minutes. Anyway, The Godfather. Because, to me, part of the reasons why I like The Godfather so much is looking at these Italians as, immigrants. And kind of
Sicilian.
Sicilians,
We gotta be
very
clear
clear.
here.
Yeah, very clear.
And looking at them as, obviously the American experience, the American story, but also being the generation removed from the actual immigrants themselves, and watching culture and class kind of clash with expectations and whatnot. And to me, the wedding is the first arrival at all the contradictions, right? It's you're asking favors on a daughter's wedding, and according to just tradition, I guess he's not going to refuse you. You still owe him, though.
Yeah.
That's still a thing. So really, all you do is him agreeing that you're going to be owed something soon. It's a big joyful occasion. Yet the film never lets you forget by cutting to the parking lot where you just see all the FBI writing down all the numbers on every license plate. It's just a very curious thing. Michael's a war hero, but he good at stuff over here. Like it's very curious to me.
He could have what? Sorry.
He could have done more stuff like with the family kind of thing. Like they like these
they
little
wanted,
That's
they wanted to insulate him.
I actually
Yeah.
don't think. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't. That's what's interesting to me about Michael's relationship with the family is that's not their reaction to him. Their reaction to him is a sort of looks like more of like a self shame, and like Michael's the good one. Like Michael, they're genuinely proud that he left, was a war hero, and initially none of them want him anywhere near any of this.
But I mean, they can't relate to him as much.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a big family occurrence.
Well, the father also like comes clean. He's like, I kind of wished you would, become the next Senator Corleone or Governor Corleone.
Right.
I think he had like higher plans to maybe involve him in that kind of way, but it was interesting. I don't know.
Lee, how did you feel about the pacing introduction to this world during this large wedding sequence?
I think the first time I saw it, it was really, really, really slow. But like Sarah, this time I enjoyed it a lot more. I appreciated it a lot more, and because I understood more of who the characters were, it was easier to follow. I had a different respect for it this time around.
Yeah, it's also something also of Coppola was one of the greatest filmmakers before he went crazy making Apocalypse Now, and all of his films suck. And this is much like The Restraint of Al Pacino, everything just so beautifully, deliberately shot. It just looks like a very classical painting of the way they're all wants to be seen, and even just the opening sequence where you first see Vito, it's the use of shadows that just to kind of have that power, even though he is an older man with a ridiculous voice.
And the cat. The cat.
Yeah, he had a kitty. It was adorable.
Apparently not planned to be part of the scene, but
Really?
now iconic, right? Apparently there were times that the cat was purring so loudly that they had to reshoot Marlon Brando's lines because there was too much sound interference.
That's funny.
Happy kitty.
Well, luckily he barely moves his mouth, so it's probably easy to dub over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another thing I learned from the IMDb trivia page this time around, was that he was wearing a mouthpiece.
Okay,
to
so
get
it
that
wasn't
kind of,
cotton balls or whatever?
because it really does sound like that.
I think I heard cotton balls.
And he's basing it off of a real famous gangster who talked
Really?
just like that, and he
Had
studied
jowls.
who had a congressional hearing, and he apparently
Oh.
studied the entirety of this guy's
Oh, wow.
congressional hearing tapes to get the voice, which is cool.
Mhm.
It
That is cool.
explains what would otherwise be a very strange choice that he's made.
Well, I mean, it's another one of the iconic, whatever, voices, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And it's so funny because this movie is just so ingrained in pop culture, you kind of almost forget how much it was here first. I mean, this is 1971, even though there were some other gangster movies even around this time. The Hollywood gangster was still James Cagney, Tommy gun, shoot 'em up. That's
Right.
how people saw gangsters.
well, and the mob was still the Italian mafia was still active. They're in Boston and Jersey and Chicago, some of these guys were just starting to really be prosecuted,
Right.
having been just in charge for a while.
Yeah.
And so I know Puzo's book was considered sort of groundbreaking in how transparently it talked about the
Yeah.
mafia.
And so this is before Scorsese is looking at these kind of things, and it is after Bonnie and Clyde, which is different kind of robbers, not the actual mob though. So yeah, it is very interesting to see that the mobsters here are all very well done suits. They're going to abide by a family code way above a legal code for everything, and it gets into why I like this film so much as opposed to almost every other mob movie. I only like mob movies when people shouldn't be mobsters. I don't like the super romanticized, look how close to be a mobster. I watch this film and go, ugh, as I just kind of watch the souls get dirtier. I'm this is not fun. This is
I don't
not
wanna do
cool.
that.
And that's why I like these films a lot, because unlike Goodfellas, where he begins the film saying, all my life I wanted to be a gangster, that was not my upbringing. But to watch this kind of downfall of a character is really upsetting.
Well, and it is based on what is clearly a very good book. I mean, it reads like the movie reads like a Russian novel. Like, the characters are so richly drawn, and like each brother has this like set of motivations that is laid out very early in the movie, and the acting is so good that you track it the whole way through. You know that Sonny is the oldest son who was always supposed to be in charge and has an odd rivalry with Tom, who he brought home from the street, and that Tom has all his drama because he's not really the son, and so he's constantly trying to prove himself, and all the stuff we talked about Michael, and then Fredo's off making an ass of himself. Fredo, not so carefully drawn, but whatever.
I think he's very carefully drawn of the shitty brother.
He's just the shitty brother, yeah. And like, it is... Like, I've never read the book, and it's interesting that the book came out like not that long before.
No, they got the rights immediately, and Mario Puzo wrote the screenplay. But
much like Gone with the Wind, I think it's one of those things where somebody reads that book and goes, "Oh, this is an amazing narrative, and we're just going to do it correctly, and we're going to throw all the money in the world at it, and it's going to work."
Yeah.
Probably the most modern example of that, I would say, is Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, which is similarly like, this is a good thing. Let's not screw it up. Let's not cut corners. Let's get all of the best, the best set pieces, the best cinematography, the best actors in that room. Yeah. Not that Peter Jackson got the best actors, admittedly, but The Godfather certainly does.
I guess another modern one, which is the only one not based on a book in these examples, would be Titanic.
Yes.
Where they kind of went in brush and went, we're going to make one of the greatest films of all time.
Yes.
We're going to make the Titanic
Although that one suffers because it's not based on a book, and its characters, I'll say, like, its characters do not have any of the depth of these characters. And that's where, these guys, like, every single person who walks on stage, you want to read a whole book about them. Yeah. Like, they're so, and can we talk about Al Pacino in this movie? Because, Jesus Christ, Al Pacino in this movie.
Have you guys seen, like, 70s Al Pacino? Because, like, now we just know him as...
Scarface, right?
Well, but that's 80s and such, because, like...
That's after this,
80s was where you got the bug, because he won the Oscar for Sense of a Woman.
Yep.
And that's where he started going, hoo-ha! And, that, Scarface, Heat, The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Oh, God, The Devil's Advocate. That's when you kind of realize, like, why should I ever act small ever again?
Right.
I can just scream all my lines.
Right, but he is not, like sort of his build and his, like... And even his acting style is so much quieter and more intense than everybody around him. It, like, almost seems like he's in a different movie, which is perfect for the character. And when he flips to wanting to be involved, and then the moment where he starts, settling in to that Don role, you are immediately terrified of him. Yeah. You're like, oh, this guy's a terrifying sociopath. Like, and only because, like, there's something in him that never got enough or never got fixed in some way. And, oh, he's gonna kill so many people.
And that's the kind of the fun tension of them preparing for the bathroom shootout. Kind of early on. Yeah. Because you just don't really know if he's gonna be able to pull it off. Yeah, he was a soldier and whatnot. He wants to do it, but they all kind of keep over-explaining to him, like, how to do it.
They don't seem to think, they don't want him to pull it off. Like, they don't want him to do it. They're only doing it because he's insisting on doing it. They still think of him as small time and not that. They figure, okay, he'll do this to seem cool and then go off to Sicily and he'll come back when things are safe. Whereas Michael is clearly like, no, like, I'm a gangster. That's what I'm going to be. And the way that he does the shootout, he doesn't follow any of their advice. He doesn't do all the things that he's supposed to do to keep himself safe, but he does pull it off brutally, and walks out and starts a war.
And that's a curious thing also about, like, how this film deals with violence, because it's a very violent movie, but even as opposed to, like, Bonnie and Clyde 2-3 years earlier, this always feels like such an artistic use of violence. Like, during that scene, I'm always, like, shocked by, like, when he fires the gun, the blood you really see is just, like, the smoke in the air.
Yeah,
right?
The mist.
The red mist. And, like, so many other things you see are, like, when people get shot, like, in the glasses or even through the whatchamacallit?
The
turnstile
revolving
thing.
door.
Yeah.
This is like Al Pacino's first major role.
Yes, it is.
Was it?
Like,
Was it
he
like
has
a breakout role?
he has like
Yeah.
literally 2 small parts in 2 movies and an episode of NYPD Blue before this. Or
Yeah.
no, just
Yeah,
NYPD.
yeah.
Just NYPD.
Yeah, Coppola fought for him. Obviously, Brando was known. I mean, James Caan and Robert Duvall weren't really known.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Keaton wasn't known.
Diane Keaton.
Who's also
Hell
wonderful.
yeah, Diane Keaton.
No,
Leland,
you're
talk
right,
about
though, like, that, about the violence being, like, really, like, kind of almost beautiful, but, like, terrifying.
Yeah.
That end scene during the baptism, where he's like, yeah, I renounce Satan and all the things he does. Meanwhile, in the background, you see all his orders being carried out, and it's just, like, a massacre. It's crazy.
Did you recognize that when Breaking Bad did an homage to that?
Which one? No, possibly.
Spoilers for season 5 of Breaking Bad, when he kills like 8 guys in jail in 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But Lee, you brought up Diane Keaton, who is a true MVP in this movie. What did you think of her?
I adore her. She's so wonderful, and I think she does a fantastic job of playing her role. Like, and I know that sounds weird, but she's the now wife of a mafia don who's supposed to be naive. She's not supposed to know anything about the family business, and she plays naive well. And I think she does a great job in this movie.
And she has such the most like interesting thing because she was in love with Michael before all this started, right? So she wasn't like signing up to be a mobster's wife,
Which is what Sonny's wife is like. Sonny's wife. I mean, they have this horrible abusive relationship, but you get much more of a feeling that she is the Italian woman who's signed up to be the daughter-in-law of the mafia don.
Like Vito's wife. I'm sure.
Right. And Diane is very different. Well, and there's even that moment where they're taking the family picture, and Michael leaves the picture to pull Diane into the picture because the family had forgotten to put her in the picture, which I thought is like, again, it's just like a wonderful narrative moment of storytelling.
and I mean just brilliant subtle acting class. The actual final scene in the movie, where Diane Keaton demands to know like what happened. He says, "I'll tell you the truth one time," and then fucking lies about it. Is just incredible acting on both their parts.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, film keeps going on. More iconic things. Horse's head in the bed.
Yep. I mean, that last shot that we were just talking about, the last thing we see is her face, like, with this kind of, like, dawning terror of the office door closing with all the people coming in and kissing his hand.
So, Pete, I want to know did you know about how Sonny was going to go?
No, actually. That was great and terrifying.
Yeah.
It actually made sense. I'm glad they wrapped that up because I was like, you fucking idiot. Why would you touch your wife again knowing that they're going to come kill you? Oh,
Sonny's a dum-dum.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And watching, like, it made such an impressive amount of bullets going. But I love that the toll guy takes his coin and then ducks down.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is terrified and has been bought off. Well, probably been bought off, but I just got that coin only. I think he just got not shot.
Yeah,
that's
the deal.
That is incredible. It's not even really a flawed movie. I do think that the Italy sequence is a bit too long.
It also doesn't make a lot of sense. He goes off and gets married and
I
doesn't tell
love
his
it.
family.
So I love it because I think it is one of the things that's good about that scene. I mean, or series of scenes is how kind of sociopathic it is to fall in love with another woman. And he clearly thinks she's super hot, right? Court her, marry her, and then and all knowing you have a wife back home who's asking about you and trying to figure out
girlfriend.
Married yet. That's true, but trying to figure out if you're okay, and he just doesn't care.
No, he basically just starts a new life.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to affect him or.
But it gets him in love with the Sicilian culture.
Right.
That, that's what's made of these people are doing this for, is to kind of have their culture in a new land and getting...
I think that's a very, very optimistic view of the reasons mafia dons do what they do.
But I mean, it's taking some of their beliefs and heritage,
Sure.
and having it clash in a world where there's a lot of clashing going on.
Mm-hmm. It's also the first example of him, because like he's in Sicily, running away from the government and the mob and stuff back home after he killed 2 people, and it's one of the first examples of him donning, doing the role of Don, and just as a consequence taking what he wants, because he basically threatened the girl's father with death in order to marry her, and like him like giving that spiel in English was so Don-like. He's like, this is business, blah blah blah, with respect, your permission, otherwise your daughter will lose a father instead of gaining a husband. Like that was him just like fully realizing and falling into the role and just like letting it take over. Just kind of,
and that's what I mean. It's when we see Michael. It's almost like it's a surprise to the audience. Mm-hmm. It's also a surprise to everyone in the movie.
Yeah,
like no one thinks that this is who this kid is. Mm-hmm. Like no one at the beginning of the movie says, "Oh yeah, Michael's the hard-hearted one who's going to be able to carry this forward." Mm-hmm. And there's just so much like coiled anger in Pacino's performance. Like every time he's around his family, until he takes control, he's just seething with these steely eyes in the background. And, like, it just, It's
Sorry, that was Buddy's alarm.
Okay. I thought you had an old-fashioned phone that you had to pick up.
No, that was Buddy's alarm. That's his medicine and dinner time alarm.
Lovely. Something that you were saying, Sarah, when people also confront him about his business strategy, like the guy in Vegas who looks like what's his face? The King Comedy, The Night Professor, Jerry Lewis.
Yeah,
he looks like Jerry Lewis. He's not Jerry Lewis. Like that guy, like, hey, that's not actually how it's been done with your father and whatnot. And that's when you see Michael also get rather angry. Of like, no, I have no interest in being an extension of my father. I'm going to be my own man for this.
Right.
And you'll see this as I kill off lots of people during the baptism.
Right.
What do you think, Peter?
Oh, no, adding to Sarah's point, like the seething anger and all that, like, he uses a bunch of his reasonings under the guise of business, not personal, but every single thing he does
so freaking
is
personal.
Only personal. Like, yeah.
I mean, he came into this because it was personal.
Exactly.
It wasn't because he was like, ooh, that's a bad deal. It makes me make a better deal for
and
you.
I think, and I'm interested in whether this happens in the book, a lesser movie gives you on screen, like, the reasons Michael is this way. Like, shows him getting bullied by his brothers when he was a kid, or, like, the source of whatever anger it is. But this, like, the film sort of lets you guess at it, and in that way, it successfully... Like, a lot of times I feel like movies show a character becoming evil, and they want you to sort of understand or excuse it.
Yeah.
And this movie, like, no, like, Michael's the bad guy.
They never
spoilers, super the bad guy in Godfather Part 2. And it's just, it's like, you sort of like, there must be a reason that he is this way.
No, I love how they never elaborate on why he's a war hero, but you're a war hero one of two ways. Either you save a lot of people, or you kill a lot of people.
No, it's very true. That's that's a really good point. They don't just call him a soldier; they call him a war hero, which means he either got a Purple Heart, or
is he? He's wearing badges at the wedding, right?
Yeah, no. Actually, I've never like. I want to pause and like count his rank.
I'm pretty sure the thing on his lapel was the Marine logo, so I think he was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
but
the big part of the movie we haven't covered yet. Another one I want to ask Pedro about. Did you know how Don Corleone dies?
Yes,
you did know that one.
I saw the movie Mafia as a kid.
Oh God,
that's really funny.
The worst Zucker movie.
Yeah. It was a funny movie. Anyway, no, I didn't know how
Godfather.
he died.
I didn't the first time I watched The Godfather. I did not know how he died, and it's an amazing scene.
It's almost too perfect. Like, he made it. He survived. He passed the mob test, which is, can you die of natural causes, basically.
Right, playing with your grandkids.
Yeah.
He was shot so many times in that sequence.
Dude just won't die.
Yeah. He won the Oscar for this movie, although in a weird Oscar trivia. He refused to accept the award based on America's history of...
genocide against Native Americans.
Yeah.
Oh. Which is, cool.
Yeah.
Alright, that's cool.
So a woman that no one knew kind of went on stage and just bashed America about that, and then refused to pick up the trophy, and that was it.
Huh. So where is it? Who gets it? Is it just sitting
I think
somewhere?
the Academy still has it, because no one's claimed it. I mean, we can't claim it.
Yeah, no, sure. But, did they just put it in a museum or something? This
I
is
think
Marlon's
so.
Oscar that he never accepted.
So, fun fact, because I'm reading the fictional biography of Michael Corleone, because I wondered if the book explained it further.
I mean, don't get spoiled on 3.
Oh, okay. But I mean, did I do it in 3? No, I'm
Do
just,
what?
I'm just
okay.
reading the first
Okay.
paragraph. I can handle my own spoilers. But so in the book they say he's a Marine, he's wounded in battle in the Pacific, and gets a battlefield commission and the Navy Cross. So, which is a big deal, and his war heroism is featured in Life magazine. So, he's like
Gotcha.
a public,
a celebrity kind
and
of.
in the wedding scene, he has a silver star and a Purple Heart.
Gotcha.
So those are he is actually a real war hero, and that makes the whole thing. He's coming from a place where he's the big shot, right?
Yeah.
For some very dubious, for odd reasons, and then he goes back to where he's little fish on the totem pole. It's definitely mixing metaphors, but I'm going to stand by it. And immediately feels the need to climb the ranks and gets himself a battlefield commission of a different kind.
Yeah.
So this film won a bunch of Oscars. Pretty much all of them. Picture, director, actor. I feel like it was up for so many acting awards and didn't get them.
Was it record holding at the time? The sheer number? And...
Maybe at the time, nomination-wise, but, well, then, this may...
No, Gone with the Wind always holds the
Gone with
record.
the Wind and Ben
Yeah.
Hur before both these. But, yeah, did well. Made a sequel really fast. The Godfather 2 comes out 2 years later, which is impressive because...
They didn't do any of, the filming at the same time,
No.
that sort of stuff. It was all...
Especially because this is the book.
Mm-hmm.
There is no book sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that's in 2, which people see as equally or better than this movie,
It's a really good movie.
is all new material. And I don't know if you know, the movie is split in half.
Mm-hmm.
The first half is Robert De Niro as the young Vito in Sicilia coming to America. And then the other half is Al Pacino, Michael, going to Nevada, and things happen.
I want to ask a controversial question. We've had a couple movies that we've reviewed that have, in various ways, been called the best movie of all time. This was one of them. Vertigo is Sight and Sound's best movie of all time. Citizen Kane is regularly cited as the best movie of all time.
We haven't done Vertigo.
We did Vertigo.
No, I thought we did do Vertigo.
We did Vertigo.
No, we did Birds.
No, we also did
We did
Vertigo.
Birds and Northwest. Let's Take 5
Definitely
did Vertigo.
Whatever. Anyway, I think that this movie has the best claim to greatest movie of all time. I mean, which is not to say it's my favorite movie, or not to say that it is.
We did Gone with the Wind, too.
But it's better than Gone with the Wind, though. I think. I think this movie is from a specific, not the golden age of Hollywood, but the sort of, it's one of the big hallmarks of the modern era of film.
Right.
It's perfectly shot, perfectly directed, with a perfect cast.
Oh, and a score, too.
And I mean, there's just there's so much about
so
this movie
iconic.
that is perfect that I almost think it doesn't have some of the sort of weird quirks of the other contenders. It is, I think
basically on raw merit of filmmaking,
right on raw merit. I would say that The Godfather has a decent claim.
The only one that would ever be in contention for me of close to that would be 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Interesting. I think
Where it's this is
it's
the
not
perfect...
as emotional though. It's not as personally emotional.
Yeah.
To me, it balanced out for just sheer ambition in terms of
Fair.
how to tell a story and the story it told. Whereas this is the greatest traditionally shot movie ever made.
I mean,
This is a Russian novel. This is something like it. The story is a traditional family drama, although a very, very good one. But yeah, no, I would say if someone asked me out of the blue, what's the best movie ever made? I think The Godfather would probably be what I would say.
That Citizen Kane's pretty good too. Because Citizen Kane,
not that big of a fan.
It's fine.
it has so many more jokes in it, which I appreciate.
I mean,
This
I'll watch
movie- this
it
movie
again
has
for
no
the
jokes.
podcast.
Except
has some
Live the
jokes in
Gun,
it.
Take the Cannoli, which is improvised. Which is improvised,
Really?
by the way, not in the
That's
script.
awesome.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday.
Also a pretty good joke. Yes.
In the scene where they kill off all those guys, turning baptism.
Yeah, that's kind of funny in its own way.
Austin just laughed the whole way through with dead eyes.
It was very slow too. Ha ha ha, ha, ha. Anywho, good shit. I'm going to give this 5 hinges, because it's The Godfather.
I will also give it, yeah, it's not going to be 5 hinges. I'm not going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't just do a monologue
Yeah.
about the greatest film of all time and then go 4.8.
I'll keep it at a 4.4 for now. It needs some more.
Sure. And Lee?
4.25.
4.25. All right, that is The Godfather.
It almost beat Hitler.
Nothing should ever beat Downfall. Our
Wait, no,
favorite
we did
depressing
beat
movie. We
Downfall.
did. What did we beat it with?
Did the act of killing actually pass it?
I
think it might
God,
have
we're
been.
so afraid of depressing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kill more people.
No, explain to us in excruciating detail the, mechanisms of death and genocide.
Yeah,
and then I go-
Seems to be our jam for some reason.
And I go, Seventh Seal's great. And you'll go, no, it's a piece of shit.
It's fine.
God damn it. Anyhow, that's The Godfather. We'll one day do part 2 sometime in the next 18 years.
Sure.
It's a good one. And there's part 3,
I'm
which...
kind of glad that part 1 came up first.
Oh, it would. Yes.
That could have.
True.
If 2 would have come up, I would have not done that first. It would have, like Chutes and Ladder style, gone down back to 1.
Right.
But now it's time for an album that doesn't connect to The Godfather.
Nope.
Can't think of one. What did we hear this week, Lee?
This week we listened to Double Nickels on the Dime by the Minutemen.
Don't seem right. Well, I've been strung out here all night. I've been waiting for the taste you said you'd bring to me.
Double Nickels on the Dime is the 3rd album by the Minutemen, and it came out in 1984. It would be what I would give as a fantastic example of punk music, and I think I'm in love.
You're in love with it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was another Wikipedia genre. I didn't know. It's punk and I'm in
No.
love. So you loved
I'm
this
pretty
one.
much in love with it.
We're flipped
I
on
really
last
enjoyed
week.
it, yeah.
So what makes this good punk for you?
I feel like it is a really great example of, it has a very political message. It's anti-establishment, so therefore super punk. It doesn't care about following any musical rules. Like,
Sure.
there are tons of songs on this album that are only a minute and a half long, if that. Because they don't give a shit. Why do a chorus and some verses? Just fuck it, do it, whatever. And then they don't care about sounding polished. Like, this entire album was recorded for less than $1,200.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so it's my first time hearing the Minutemen, I think, unless they put it on the podcast and I forgot them. Hope not.
No.
I was way more mixed on this because I actually was turned off by its punkiness because I thought that its most political songs were too on the nose for me and not very effective. I kept thinking it was cute more than burn down the establishment kind of thing. But what I did love about this album was, good God, can they play the guitar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that got me the most because I didn't love the guy's voice, but man, almost every one of these 80 songs, not 80 minutes, 40 something songs has just an amazing riff, an amazing playing. So my favorite ones were weirdly the ones without lyrics, just because I was just so in awe of how good they were as performers.
This album has been on many of the different top lists, like best album of the best rock album of the 80s, best album of all time. It's on our list, obviously. D. Boone, the guitarist, has been on lists for being, a great guitarist, as has the bassist for being a great bassist, Mike Watt. So these guys kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're insanely talented. Do you like their vocals?
The vocals aren't something I would go out of my way for, but it doesn't turn me off of the album like a lot of vocalists do.
I was pretty mixed on it, but then there's one near the end where there's like talking over the song a little bit. What was that one?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I listened to this album out of order because I couldn't find it in order, so...
I think it was Dr. Wu. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange thing there. It was amusing that I was listening to this while going around town today, that one of their short songs caught my ear, something I'd recognized as a TV theme song. And I'm going to play it here in the room, see if anyone recognizes it. It'll, of course, sound better on the actual podcast.
What's that from?
Yeah. That is the theme song to Jackass.
That's
That's what that is.
I was very happy that I recognized that.
I never watched Jackass, so I didn't get it.
I didn't really watch the show, but I've seen all the movies, which are weirdly good in a self-destructive way. Anywho, do you have any final thoughts on this album?
If you are wanting to get into some really great punk, especially some with some anti-capitalist, anarchist, socialist ideas, I highly recommend this album.
Did it fly by for you?
Oh, yeah, it was so quick. Like, I think it helps that, like, again, all the songs are really short. Like, I don't think there's one that's over 3 minutes on this entire album. So I think that really helps, because, like, whenever I got bored with a song, it would be the next one anyway, so it doesn't matter.
True that. It did go by faster than I thought it would, because I was very hesitant towards the 80-minute runtime, but I'm glad I heard it. How many hinges would you give it?
I would give it a 4, I think.
And I would give it a 3, but I would still recommend people checking it out. All right, now it's time for the food segment.
Yeah, the food is Escargot de Bourgogne. It's delicious. I don't have it this week. I will next week. It's snails. Yay!
What's the de Bourgogne? Was that just...
I think it just means it's French. Like
Some place in France, maybe?
yeah, Bourgogne is a place. So
Cool.
it's a way to prepare them. Yeah.
All right, now it's time for the song segment.
Yes.
Pedro, what did we hear this week?
We heard Ace of Spades by Motorhead.
I'm a shade green. The only gun I need is the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. Playing for the high road, dancing with the devil, going with the flow. It's all a game to me.
Ace of Spades is a 1980s rock song by the band Motorhead. Speed metal is what Wikipedia says. Which
Does that
isn't
mean, like,
wrong.
Is that talking about how fast something is, or the drug of choice?
It could be either.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this case,
How
it's,
fast it's played.
Yeah, in this case, it's the speed that it's played.
See, Lee actually clicked the hyperlink on Wikipedia.
No, you can hear it because like it's really fast strumming, the beats, and like I don't know, some ungodly like 240 beats per minute or some shit like that. It's really short. It's like just under 3 minutes, I think. Which makes sense because it's real fast.
We just listened to a whole album of songs that are only a minute long.
That's true.
It's not short.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
long.
All right, fine.
It's the longest song I've listened to all day.
In that sense, yes, it's a pretty long song.
But I would say it's also shorter than The Godfather.
That's also true, about 60 times shorter.
Yes.
It's fine, I guess. It's like, it's got, a good metal beat, that sort of thing, but I like more grand, like, large-sounding metal tracks. This one's just kind of, like, grungy and, like, I don't know, the distortion's there, but it's, like, super fuzzy, and it's alright. It talks about gambling, I guess. But it's not like a super like themed song.
Yeah, and that's what got threw me off a little bit
I love
because
this song.
whereas I can't fully understand like the nuances of the musical compilation. I do know gambling imagery, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
not a very good poker song over here.
This song is great. This song is super fun to listen to. I listen to it all the time. I love it. It's great. The end.
I mean, it's in like
Those are my feelings.
it's in like Tony Hawk and stuff. It's like it's
Yeah.
a good song for like if you're trying to rack up a lot of points. Real
That's
fast,
exactly-
as like a driver.
This is
kind
a
of thing.
solid
Oh my
gym
God.
song.
That's
Like
such
this is a workout song.
I got this because the song's included in Amazon Prime. But when I added it to my list, it added it from the soundtrack album for Shoot 'Em Up.
Ha!
Yeah. So
Is that a film that like we've seen and no one else has?
I know I've seen
never
it, but I saw it not with you.
Okay, I remember like I saw it around the same
I
time
think
as you.
Wani
saw it.
liked it.
I
I think
think-
you saw it with
yeah.
her.
This is the Clive Owen Paul Giamatti action film where Clive Owen kills someone with a carrot in 2 different scenes in the movie.
Yep. He's really good at guns.
Yeah.
One of the best people at guns in the world.
Yeah, sex with Monica Bellucci while killing everyone in the room.
It's pretty awesome.
It's a ridiculous movie.
It's great.
I'm sure it's on the list.
I mean, it's the kind of movie that this track is for.
Yes.
Like, it has that kind of momentum in driving. It's just not, like, super my jam. It's fun, but I'll be hard-pressed to, like, find an occasion where I actively seek out this to listen to.
I feel like I have so many occasions to listen to this song. It's great.
You also drive to a prison more than we do.
Yeah, no, it's true. Bon Jovi is also high on my list of songs that I always have a use for. Power chords. Power chords are a good thing. Is my point.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But see, like, at work, if I want to, like, really get into it, I still find myself turning to Bat Out of Hell a lot.
Yeah.
Meatloaf.
Another great song.
Well, when you have a large project to do, you only want to put on one song.
Right.
It's easier.
Yeah.
Lee, what do you think of the song?
I mean, it's Ace of Spades. It's a great song.
Yeah.
It's on the list of songs that I can't listen to while driving.
Oh, I can totally listen to this song while driving. I drive very fast.
I think that's what Lee is referring to.
Yeah, that's the problem. I go very, very fast. I do not want the speeding ticket.
This is fair.
It is difficult to also drive away from seeing a Fast and Furious film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just a... really gotta control yourself after watching the
It's true. It's true.
It's funny how the theme was like secondary though. They just wanted to make this like fast moving song, and I think the lead of the band bassist guy when he was talking about it was like, I actually prefer slot machines, but you can't really make a song about pulling a lever and watching fruit spin.
You said that, and I instantly thought of Money by Pink Floyd.
That's a good one, right?
That kind of feels like a slot machine kind of droll to it.
Well, because you can hear the crank. No,
Yeah.
no, never mind. It's the cash register.
That's the cash register.
Yeah.
But still, it can be done.
He referred to it as one-armed bandits, which I didn't know was a thing, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
But,
All right. Give a hinge rating to Ace of Spades.
I don't know. 3.9.
4.5.
3.8.
3 is fine.
It's a great song. Great song. Y'all are crazy. Great song.
All right, that is Ace of Spades by Motorhead. Now it's time for the TV show of this movie that is played in theaters called Little Dieter Needs to Fly.
Men are often haunted by things that happen to them in life, especially in war or other periods of great intensity. Sometimes you see these men walking the streets or driving in a car. Their lives seem to be normal, but they are not.
Little Dieter Need to Fly is a documentary made by Werner Herzog. But
It's not a TV show.
I guess it aired on German TV and BBC put some money into it, so it's a TV show according to this list that definitely has enough things to put 1,001 lists on. So we all know. Came out in 1997. It is about this POW by the name of Dieter Dengler. He was a German-American pilot. he crashed during the Vietnam War, and the film is primarily Dieter who lived.
Yeah.
You know, it's because he's narrating the movie on camera. Herzog still narrates it as voiceover because Herzog is God.
Talking about, death and difficulty.
Oh, we'll get to the Herzog tangents in this film because they always exist. But this is the really fascinating story of Dieter who he crash lands in Laos, right?
Yeah.
He gets taken prisoner pretty early on and treated horribly and starts an escape. And what results is, in many ways, similar to the act of killing, but not entirely, is Herzog brings Dieter to these kind of settings and familiar elements of his time there and just letting Dieter give full reign of the story.
Yeah.
There's no cuts. There's no really interview questions. Even the point where, like, when Dieter will stumble on a word, that's still it. They don't do a second take. And it's really captivating because the story is insane. And Dieter is someone who he's able to be so far removed from it and seems to be so grateful he survived that he's able to tell the story without any melodrama, which makes it even stranger.
I actually find that, I would say the opposite, actually, which is that the way he tells the story is haunting because it is completely emotionless about, unbelievably terrible things. Just unbelievably horrible things happen to him, and he sort of just speeds through it. Herzog does a couple of things a little bit like the act of killing, in which they go to Vietnam and sort of reenact, not fully, but they put him at settings with Vietnamese guys, but there is one I remember where they actually do. My guess when I was watching it was that Herzog's plan was to reenact more of it, but that Dieter's reaction when they reenacted some of it was so, horrifying that he wouldn't do it, because they do reenact it, and Dieter says, everything came flooding back, my heart was racing, I knew there was a camera crew there, and I knew... And that was curious, because it was a point when the Vietnamese actors they handcuffed up and they're walking through the jungle. And that was the only part during the recreation where Dieter wasn't in control. Because they handcuffed him.
Yeah, because he's very happy to show himself putting on handcuffs, show you how to get out of them, or what it was like when you have your feet, tied up. But he's the one putting those on. Right. And that's the only difference in the whole movie, where it was him out of control, and that clearly upset him. But even though it's an unemotional telling of it with a sometimes jovial performance, it is something that's very clear of like I said, there's no melodrama in the way that he just it all sticks with him because he remembers exactly when the knife would be going this direction.
Yeah, his specificity of memory is the way that is only sort of crystallized by trauma. Yeah. And retelling. That he's clearly been... you see these clips of him after he gains weight, because when he was finally saved, he was 85 pounds, talking to sort of the American press. Because he's an interesting guy. He's this German guy who flies for the American Air Force because he's a little kid during World War II and wants to be an Air Force pilot, and you can't do that in Germany after World War II because we were no, you don't get any planes, Germany. No. So he becomes a citizen of America and goes off to Vietnam, which is just to fly a plane. That's what he wants to do. And which is just an interesting motive. And keeps flying after he gets back. It's really amazing.
And crashes 3 more times.
Yeah. And it's just... But then again, the first crash was so bad, so many bad things happened that you would think that when you just crashed and got to walk away, that you'd be like, eh. But honestly, I really enjoyed this. It was, the actual story is, it's an amazing... it's just an amazing story. It's an amazing story of survival. It's got twists and turns and horrors and victories, and it's just it's cool. Like, it's a very cool story that I'm glad I know about.
And it's so curious because Werner Herzog is a director, he's one of my favorite directors, but he is someone who has a very, very distinct style. You always know you're watching a Herzog film, but he's not someone who's such an auteur that he demands the frame be his way, because like we were watching the movie and it's just a still frame of Dieter talking for like 5 minutes, and as Dieter tells the next part of his story, like Sarah gasped at one point.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing visually happening on screen except for a kind man telling a story.
A really terrifying story.
Oh yeah, really upsetting, but like there was no film trickery to like make you like feel an emotion that you didn't want to feel in that kind of way. And I really admired that about Herzog, and there's some really kind of... What makes this film stand out for me, like in other films, is that whereas Herzog has so many fictional and non-fictional subjects, there's no one that I've seen in his films that he admires more. This is, you know, so many of his tales are man up against nature, and this is one of the few men who won, I guess. It is such, like, he just loves this man so much and wants to honor him in a way to kind of show his ability to survive in impossible times and to give him like the comfort he wants when he comes home. Dieter died in the early 2000s, and even like years after he died, Herzog made another film about him, a fictional recreation starring Christian Bale, and called Rescued On, which was quite good. But like, it's something very telling that is something he wanted to kind of keep coming back to kind of really praise this man. That comes through in the film, even with a couple of Herzog tangents, which are shorter than most Herzog documentary tangents. But he did decide to just completely mock the American government by doing basically a MST3K style riffing on a training video for if you fall down behind enemy lines, if you're an American soldier.
Oh God, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Ever just being like, none of it make any sense. Like, yeah, because they're just looking at being like, yeah, because you totally have a knife. Like, yeah, and you totally can just find hearts of palm everywhere you look.
Because if you get cut, use your giant first aid kit.
Yeah.
And if you have a knife, be sure you also have your whetstone on you. You're going to definitely have that. And the way you survive is, of course, using your radio, getting help, and you'll be gone in 10 minutes. Like, that's the video that was training soldiers. Like, don't worry about it. And yes, there's a sequence of the bear.
Gotta have a bear. It's a Herzog movie.
You gotta have a bear.
Even though I had to look it up later, I didn't realize that bears lived in Laos and Vietnam, but yes, they're sun bears.
Yeah.
Sure.
A lot of animals hurt Dieter and his friends during this. Leeches.
Oh God, no! There's some real.
Leeches.
If you are squeamish, like, there's some bad shit in this narrative. Like,
never on screen, but it's the theater of the mind.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it does, and none of it is on screen. Like,
no, just like him showing you, like, oh, we would like walk over there, like from this hut, or this is what like a handcuff looked like. Yeah. Snakes and leeches, and it's rough shit, but rather good movie. Very sweet movie despite its subject matter. Mm-hmm. I think because of just like the love Herzog clearly has for this man, so I give it a 4.2.
That sounds exactly right. 4.2.
And if you are curious about this film, I do recommend it. It is currently on Netflix. You can find it in the film section because it's not a TV show.
It's not a TV show, guys. It's really not a TV show.
And that wraps it up for episode 124 of The Immortals. Pedro, do you have a number for us for next week?
Let's go back to the 900s.
Okay.
I always want you to give us a random number. I don't want you to just, like, choose.
953.
God damn it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to...
That's more modern. All right.
We have to show your work next week. I want to see your algorithm playing out.
I use my calculator.
The food is habshi halwa, which is a sweet, I believe, like a Israeli sweet.
Peter, not going to be able to have your calculator on you at all times. Just kidding. That totally played out, math teachers. The movie is Goodbye Lenin, a German film that I've been meaning to revisit for a while now.
The song is Todo Cambia. Todo Cambia by Mercedes Sosa. That's it.
What's the album, Lee?
The album is Rejoicing in the Hands by Vendra Banhart.
And the TV show is Orange is the New Black. Because as always, it's good to do a TV show 1 month before it returns. So close to nailing it. Until then, you can find us many ways on the internet. Obviously here at theartmore.com, where you can leave a comment on any thoughts you had during the show. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter at the Immortals Pod. Lee runs that very well. Our shows pop up on YouTube if you prefer that way. There are more podcasts on the site, including Let's Take 5, which yesterday had its wrap-up of the documentary Errol Morris. And tomorrow we're going to have our first film in the Pedro Almodovar 5, which I'm very excited about. I love that director. Ad Absurdum's going to be back this summer, but until then, check out their old episodes, including if you are right now, like Sarah, obsessed with Westworld, they devoted a whole hour plus to the laws and...
Westworld's very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on tonight.
I'm aware.
Whenever we've recorded this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, news review on iTunes. There's thanks to Adam Lord who did the music for the podcast, and... we'll catch you all next week. Until then, I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Oh, what is it with men? What is it with men and the Godfather? Hello?
Oh, come on. Hello? Well... Oh, what can I... Michael, come on. The Godfather is the I Ching. The Godfather is the sum of all wisdom. The Godfather is the answer to any question. What should I pack for my summer vacation? Leave the gun, take the canoe. What day of the week is it? Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. The answer to your question is go to the mattresses. Go to the mattresses. You're at war. It's not personal, it's business. It's not personal. It's business. Business. Recite that to you.